My dear friends, the biblical scholars have discovered in the Bible stories at a pattern which they call the younger child motive. The younger child motive. I'm sure you as parents will also know the younger child's motive is there. They find that in the stories in the Bible, they have two brothers or two sisters. It is almost invariable. The younger one who emerges as a hero, as a good guy, and who has the last laugh. Starting from Cain and Abel, Ishmael and Isaac, Esau and Jacob, Joseph and his brothers, David and his brothers, Adonijah and Solomon, Lehi and Rachel. Then we have in the New Testament prodigal son and his elder brother. Then we have Mary and Martha. We find usually here the younger sibling who ends up more at peace with God and people. And I'm sure if you have a younger child, you will always find that this younger child of yours is always ending up with more at peace with God and with all of you and with all the people. Well, it is hard to make a sense out of this biblical theory. But Carl Jung, a great psychologist ever seen, explains to us that the human personality is driven to two particular energies, which he calls, in Latin he says, sensex, C-E-N-E-X, senex, what we say, meaning old man, meaning the senior one. And the next aspect is the pora aeternus, that is the eternal boy or the child energy. The senior is more wise, more prudent, more calculative, always looks before leaping, and finally ends up not leaping. Whereas the child energy, the younger one, on the other hand, is more venturesome, more prone to making mistakes, and takes more chances and opportunities. The senior is more persevering and having security consciousness, and the child is more easy come, easy go. The younger one is always easy come, easy go, more prepared to change and always to let go. Okay, fine. The senior more geared towards competition and towards success, towards, in a way, little perfection. The child energy is more attuned to cooperation and collaboration and celebration. The senior is more responsible while the child energy is more light-hearted. And in large families it happens, my dear friends, that the parents sometimes transfer their senior energies into the first child and later end up conversing more on the child's energy. That is why Carl Jung says that when one of these two energies takes over in a personality, then we see the result is personality is dead. If one of these energies take prominence, that personality is dead. But to be fully human, fully alive, these two energies are necessary. To be a senior, to be matured, and to be the child energy wherein you get many chances and the opportunities and you make the best use of it. Well, when we go into today's gospel reading, my dear friends, the disciples in today's reading, we find that they are acting from the senior energy overdriven in them, the senior energy. First we find, last Sunday we heard Jesus saying, I will go into Jerusalem and there they will put me to death, and on the third day rise again. Last Sunday we heard that. This Sunday also Jesus says the Son of Man is going to be delivered into the hands of men, and they will kill him, and he will be killed, but after 3 days he will rise. And they did not understand anything about this and about what is suffering. They were just listening to him. They did not understand, nor did they want to ask what all this is about. It's typically of an senior energy, the eldest one. That the eldest one will always see that, well, if that is the case, let it be so. That is why they say there is a reason why God created Eve. Because God was afraid of man. Man will be lost in the Garden of Eden. And the senior energy in a man is that a man will never ask anyone for directions. And that is the reason why we see God created Adam and Eve so that Eve can guide Adam. There is that senior energy expressing in itself. Another expression of the senior energy in this part of the disciples is that they keep arguing. Not bothered about Jesus is dead, rather they are more bothered who is going to be the best, who is going to be the greatest. And that is the senior energy in them. This shows that they are relating not in a way to collaborate and cooperate, but rather with a competition and see who is the greatest. Well, Jesus is wanting them to become more collaborative. He wants them to mingle with each other and be one, but rather they are with that senior energy, the elder one, who's the greatest. Now we begin to understand why Jesus brings the little child there in the midst and puts him there, and he says, whoever accepts him as a little child will be welcoming me as well. Whoever welcomes one such child, he says, in my name, welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me, welcomes the one who sent me. The critical importance of this declaration, my dear friends, is unless we welcome the little child, like a little child, all our efforts, all our desires of our personal Lord and Master may become very unproductive and will not bear any results, because we find that we are caught up with this idea of the senior energy in ourselves, like how these disciples were caught up who's the greatest. To accept the child can mean more than one thing. The one thing that we see very clearly here is, according to Carl Jung, analysis that he says is, to accept child as a child and its personality, it means that we become less calculative. A little child is always less calculative, less concerned about personal dignity and shame, less afraid of failure and death. This is how child energy is. They don't in a way calculate, they don't in a way make things great about their dignity or about their shame. They are not afraid. They are also not afraid of death. They are less grabbing of power or for success. The younger ones are like that. With more of child energy, we shall see that we are more disposed to take a better leap into the unknown. And also as a child energy, the younger one, we may also have the opportunity to let go. Okay, it's okay. And that is how the little child that is there will always be working. Then only does the believing of Jesus becomes a true thing. Then only the believing of Jesus becomes possible. That is the reason why Jesus puts the little child there and says, whoever welcomes this little child welcomes me. Why? Because he wants each one of us to have that childlike confidence, to be less calculated, to be less concerned about personal dignity and shame, to be less afraid of failure and death. Our culture today, my dear friends, more than the Hebrew culture, today is heavily biased in favor of the senior energy, like the disciples who were very serious oriented. They were more bothered about the success measures. They were more bothered about how and when will I become the greatest, terming or comparing with each other. A senior person will always compare with each other. Am I great or am I the best? Jesus today, through this gospel, my dear friends, he challenges us today to make room for childlike energy in ourselves. Childlike energy to trust. Childlike energy to laugh. Childlike energy to be less calculated. Childlike energy to be cooperative. Childlike energy to be collaborative with each other. Childlike energy where I can just let go and say, okay, we'll give another chance. Whether you are 9 years old or 90 years old, Jesus wants you to be that person. Whether you are firstborn in your family or whether you are the lastborn in your family, whether you are the only child in your family, the message that Jesus challenges today is for you to become young at heart. Look at Jesus, who wants you to be young, who wants you to be like child, to be less calculated, less serious, less on personal dignity and shame. Why? Because he wants you to be young at heart. And therefore, you and I want to become very serious and very senior, and then we lose the real way. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, this is the only way I think that Jesus wants to tell us, that you will be in my kingdom. That if you have the senior energy as the eldest and also as the youngest, as the younger energy, so that you are tuned to that young heart which he desires from you. Amen.